ng Pilipino, galing ng ating lahi na sa palad mo. Ipagpatuloy mo, galing ng Pilipino, galing mong natatag, ipagyamanin mo. Oh, 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 aking galing, ipagpatuloy mo.
Good morning! Magandang Sabado ng umaga, guten morgen, maayong buntag sa mga Bisaya diha. I'm talking Cebuano because our guest for today is originally from Cebu. And being Cebuana, and like most of us, of course, she comes from a family also of food lovers. Her grandparents used to own a Chinese restaurant and she has cousins who have been doing catering businesses. So, wag na tayo magpaligoy-ligoy. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the queen of, ano pa nga bang sikat sa Cebu, kundi Lechon Belly, Miss Leslie Lao Brosow. Guten Morgen. Good morning,
Good
Leslie.
morning! Maayong
Hi!
buntag, mga
Mayong
bisdak!
buntag. Kamusta ka naman ngayong Saturday? Kamusta ang gremlin mo?
Okay naman. As usual, she's naughty, so I have someone taking care of her so I could actually do this interview with you.
Ay, oo nga
And
naman. Mabuti.
and pasensya na mga Tagalog kasi hirap na hirap akong mag-Tagalog, so you will hear me speak mainly in English. And because of course a lot of people won't understand Bisaya, then yeah, I'll try to mix in some Tagalog here and there whenever
You know,
possible.
but you shouldn't worry because we actually have a lot of Visayan viewers, and which just reminded me about the recent post I saw in one of the Facebook about the dialect issue. But anyway, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Well, Leslie, I first came to know you through Facebook. I think must have been less than 2 years. And from the time I saw you, I could tell that you were quite a newbie in Germany. The usual question we ask is what brought you here and how long have you been here? So tell us your story. When did you arrive in Germany? And yeah, what were the circumstances that led you here? I'm sure your story
Okay.
is also just as interesting as the others.
Well, love brought me to Germany. I actually arrived March of 2020
Mm-hmm.
to visit my new husband. We were just married for about a week. And then I came
Uh-huh.
here, and as fate would have it, COVID lockdown happened. So there was nothing I could do with, all of Germany being closed.
So that
I
was
was stuck
probably
at home.
around March 2020?
Yes, I arrived March 15th.
Oh, I
Basically, the
remember
first,
March 17 was the lockdown. You know why I
yes,
remember
and
that? That was the birthday
why?
of my mom. Would have been
Wow.
her birthday. So kaya I will never forget that day. And my telephone became like a non-stop ringing. My email was like a Christmas light blinking with all the emails, what is happening. Anyway, yes. So you came to
Yes.
Germany in the pandemic time.
Exactly. And wala kang magawa in Germany during that time. You couldn't go out. So I had my Deutsch classes or German classes online
Mm-hmm.
to at
Mm-hmm.
least fill my time since wala naman akong magawa. And of course, there's so much of empty time. So I started doing more explorations in the kitchen. I would say my kitchen adventures, because growing up, I always loved to cook, but of course, that was not supported. So I would like to travel, or I would go travel and eat different cuisines in different countries. So anyway, that's how I started cooking. And then, of course, I couldn't go back to the Philippines. I got pregnant, and then pregnancy cravings
Ah.
happened.
So,
And
but
being,
how long was the intended stay lang sana during your visit?
it was
1 month
supposed to be
or
March to May, so around 2 months.
2 months?
I
The two
remember,
months became 2 years.
yes, exactly. I remember my flight was supposed to be May 10th, but flights were all grounded, so I had to stay in Germany. And then, yeah,
Ah,
so I got pregnant and cravings happened, and I couldn't find lechon in Germany, and it's the food that I loved growing up. So then I just,
oo
started cooking it, and that's
naman.
how basically things
Cebu,
happened.
syempre, lechon, no? I recently came back also from Cebu, and of course, the famous, how do they call it? Cebucon, no? It's actually
Zubuj.
Cebuchon. Cebuchon.
Cebuchon. Mhm.
Cebuchon. It's Cebu. It's short for Cebu Lechon. Or Lechon from Cebu.
Yes.
Cebuchon, no? Well, Leslie, so interesting. So isa ka pala sa mga, how you call this, prisoner of pandemic, but they eventually become prisoner of love. Well, you're actually not the only one. You also have some Filipinos, au pair, and some nurses who also just got in around that time, and they just, I don't know, I even know of a couple woman, she wanted to work as an au pair, but now they're living together. It's a single dad taking care of a kid, but that's a different story. Well, anyway,
Oh.
seeing your grandpa and your cousins do their food businesses as a kid, did that make any influence on you? Did you feel like, I want to study, like maybe gourmet cooking, go to a culinary school? Did that have any effect on you as you were growing?
Interestingly, actually, excuse me, I never saw my grandparents have this business because my grandparents passed away before my parents were married and before we were
Ah,
born. So
okay.
it was just something I was really interested in growing up. And excuse, sorry.
We are all
And also,
having just some sort of itchy
exact
throat because I just came from a bad cough, and I guess you are also still,
same as well. I think it's the weather.
yeah.
It's getting
So,
hot and
yeah.
rainy and yeah. So anyway, yeah, my cousins were also interested in cooking, so that's something that's really a passion of ours. And at some point, I remember wanting to take culinary classes, and
Mhm.
my dad didn't want me doing that. So
Oh, bakit
anyway,
naman?
sabi
Bakit
niya tataba
ayaw?
daw ako, and mataba na ako at that
As if
time.
naman hindi tayo tataba pagka iba ang natin.
Exactly. I have weight issues, but anyway, that's beside the point. And so
Mhm.
parang it was not really supported. So I let it go. And then at some point, I decided to go, devote my time in working and just traveling, saving up money to travel every few months and then
Mhm.
eat different foods in different countries.
Mhm.
And who knew that, at some point in my life, I would come back 360 degrees and start doing my own food business, which makes me very
True.
happy, by the way.
So that came from the idea of there's this famous tour called Eat the World. So it's basically trying out different dishes from different countries. Well, Leslie, I remember stumbling on your video some years ago. First, what was that? I think you were opening some boxes of something you ordered and detailing how it looks like, the packaging, etc. And then later on, I started seeing you munching on some crunchy skin of your lechon belly. And then it's like, whoa, there's something new now, lechon belly. But why lechon among the lechon belly among other options? Was that because you're from Cebu and that's the first thing that came to your mind because that's what Cebu is famous for? Or was it something that came out because you tried it, your friends like it, and how is that?
It basically happened by chance. So pregnancy cravings led me to modify an existing recipe I had, which was for lechon no, lechon kawale that I would
Mm-hmm.
just roast because I was trying to avoid deep frying. So anyways, like I tried it, and then lo and behold, after about 3 to 4 tries, I got the right recipe that I wanted. And then, of course, my friends got to try it, and they wanted me to cook it for them. But sobrang mahal ng pork belly, so I would tell them, wait muna, because at that time I wasn't working, I wasn't doing anything because I was just, stranded in Germany. So
But these are friends
eventually
from the
sabi,
Philippines, I guess, who are
no,
or
these
friends
were
from
like
here na you have
these were
contacts na.
friends here na
Ah,
medyo nakilala ko because I got stranded. I didn't know anyone,
oo,
and some
oo,
people
oo.
sent me messages and like they wanted to, become friends because I'm pretty active with the online
Because
community
of
and I
that
like
online
to,
thing, you gain friends also. Okay, okay.
yes, because I
So,
love to answer questions, especially when I know the answer because I do love to read. So
uh
that's basically how my friends started. They would just send me messages.
And the
And
funny thing is, the whole time I was watching you, I never really realized that you are from Stuttgart until the last food festival that we had in 2022. Tama ba?
mm,
2022. Yes. Until somebody told me that you're from Stuttgart. Sabi ko, really? she's from Stuttgart because like somebody will go to the Santa Maria Church and said, "Because saan ba itong girl na to?" And that's the only time I realized you're just right under our nose. So
Yeah.
anyway, so now you have your official business name, Leslie's Kitchen, which we're going to show later. And how is it doing? How is Leslie
It
and how is Leslie's Kitchen doing?
I would say I'm doing really well. It's nice to have that peace of mind na my business is finally registered because I've decided that this is what I want to do and I
Mm-hmm.
want to pursue this. So just go with it. And of course, since I started or after I've registered my business, I'm now able to freely advertise and I'm now to able to build my menu. So it started to
Okay.
grow from
So the
there.
freedom to be open and to show everyone. Well, if I may do
Right.
some announcement, no. So speaking of registration, before I even forget, we have next month we're scheduling a business startup workshop with the IHACA or the Industriehandelskammer in Stuttgart. And we have two schedules, either October 19 or October 25. So far, we have 4 registrants for October 25, which is a Wednesday. If you're interested also in attending, please send us an email at bb-hc@philippine-embassy.de or just email the honorary consulate. It will be a 2-hour session from 10 in the morning to 12 noon. No kids allowed, please. We still have a few slots available, which I think might go pretty fast. So October 19 or 25, you can register if you want to be part of this workshop on business startup. But you have to be from Stuttgart because the IHACA sponsoring is the one in Stuttgart. Okay, that's just some announcements. So thank you. Okay, so what dishes are you offering now from the time you registered or from the time you started your business officially?
Okay, officially I started with Lechon Belly and then from
Mm-hmm.
there
Let
I've
me just share some of the pictures of your dishes. Yan. Naku, Diyos ko, nagugutom na naman ako. So go ahead, please.
so yeah, this is my original product, Lechon Belly, and if you look at the photo on the left, wherein
Mm-hmm.
there's a comparison of the raw and cooked, that's one of the first experimentations I had, which by the way
Ah.
surprised me at how much it shrank
Okay.
after
So
being cooked.
ikaw then, because you're also doing trial. So the uncooked, how many kilo was that?
I think that one was around 1.2 kilos.
And when it shrunk or after it's cooked, how far has it
Around
reduced
this
to how many
in this
kilos left?
I think this one was around 6 to 700 grams. Let's just say on average,
Half, mga half.
yeah, around half, 35% to 55%. If you're having a really good day, it will
Uh-huh.
shrink just 35%. But if
So
it's really
meaning
bad, then
if you let's say you want to order for let's say 10 people, 10 men, let's say 5 men, 5 women, more or less how much raw should be ordered so that it could serve 10 people.
Nako, it's not such an easy thing to answer because first off, I would need to know if you will only have lechon or if you have any other dishes and how many.
Ah,
So
okay.
it
Well,
matters a
let's
lot.
just assume hindi naman lechon lang, pero kasi makain ang lechon eh. So, so kumbaga, everybody wants to have lechon. Let's just say may iba pang dishes. It's not the only thing, but at a level that your guests will be happy that they've had a good portion.
Okay, I would say at least around 3 kilos raw or
Mhm.
minimum of at least around 1.5
For 10
kilos that's
people.
cooked for
Masaya na
10
lahat yan.
people.
Happy tummy na
Should
lahat.
be. Should be. I mean, alam mo yung hindi sila pwedeng mag all you can eat, but at the same time, they won't
Hindi
have such a
bitin.
small piece. Yeah, hindi
Hindi
sobrang
bitin.
bitin.
All right.
Mhm.
Okay. So the other one is like samples of like how big it is, no? Wow.
Yes.
Okay. So you're offering lechon belly and then so that's the
I
original, no?
yes, I also offered lechon paksiw, and the story
Ayan.
behind that was that may pumalpak na skin ng lechon belly and I didn't
Hindi
want to
naging
sell it to my
crunchy, you
customer.
mean?
Crunchy siya pero medyo makunat. And I wasn't
Okay.
happy with it, so I decided not to sell it. So nag-recook ako and sabi ko, anong gagawin ko? This is too much for me to eat because it was around 2 kilos. So I made paksiw. And then
Mm-mm.
ginawa ko is pinamigay ko sa customer ko na umorder that time. And
Mm-mm.
nagustuhan nila. Sabi nila,
Free,
can I
free.
order again? Yeah, it was for free.
I have yet to order paksiw from you, ha? So, anyway, naku, yung paksiw, yan ang talagang tipong, I think it could even last for a week or more, no? It's like the adobo. It's one of those, you could just do it ahead and you can eat it anytime. Just heat it and it would still be good. The longer it stays there, the better, the tastier it gets, right?
Exactly. It can stay in the fridge for a long time.
Yes. Okay. And then you also have, oh, this one I tried. So
I have my
it,
shawmai, which is
mhm.
the
So
Chinese style.
the left shows the ingredients, which basically is composed. You have different flavors, right?
I can do pork and shrimp, and I can also
Mhm.
do chicken and shrimp.
Okay. The one in the picture looks like a mixture of shrimp
This
and
is pork actually, pork and shrimp.
pork and shrimp. Ay, Diyos ko, ang sarap yan. I tell you, I tried her siomai. It's really Chinese style. It's like, well, it's like going to I don't know if you're from Cebu, then you know Harbor City, the dim sum place in Cebu, and it's really it's going to make a run for their money.
I really
So,
appreciate that comment because when I started developing this recipe, I wanted to get the Chinese dim sum style kind of shawmai because that's
mhm,
what I grew up with. So, yun
mhm,
yung lasang hinahanap ko which is very different from the Filipino Canto style shawmai. So,
yeah,
I wanted that and I think I achieved it naman.
mhm.
And that's how I started selling it because, I wasn't satisfied when I would go to the grocery store to go Asia and it's like,
Oh
it's a
no,
waste of
it's
money to buy.
different. It's different. Yeah.
Really? So,
Well,
oh.
remind me to order more next time because the last time the what I got from you, I didn't even taste it. My son devoured it. So I should order more next time. So, and then you also have, is
Yeah.
it a recent addition or
Yes. This
the
is the most recent,
sisig?
yes, addition, the sisig.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. One of my friends was craving for this, and I used to order sisig from someone else, but this person stopped selling it, so I decided to, just try it out. And
Mm-hmm.
much to my surprise, after
It,
one try, parang wow, I like the taste, so I tried to recreate it, and I managed to. So I gave it to my friend, and then I had people made a request because I posted this on my Facebook. I initially was
mm-hmm.
not intending to sell it, but I had a few requests. I said, okay, why not? Let's give it a try. And I got
I
good
have yet to
feedback
try
from
your
it.
sisig. But I just realized looking at it, what part do you use? Because I thought, well, if you already, aside from the lechon paksiw, could you also make use of something, the lechon belly that didn't work and make sisig out of it?
Actually, I'm the pork belly girl. So everything I cook right now is mainly made out of pork belly. The
So it's
sisig, the
not so it's
lechon
not the
paksiw.
pisngi or tenga, or
No.
sorry, I sounded, some people use the ears of the pig, sorry, that's the most brutal truth.
Yes.
Or
No,
pisngi.
no,
Yeah.
I'm using pork belly because my husband is not into, the cheek and different kinds
Oh yes,
part.
those kind of
In
things.
Yes, definitely. He doesn't like the texture. So of
To
course I
them it's
have to make
horrible.
something. Yes. And I find pork belly to be the lesser evil. Although
Mhm.
of course it's still evil because it's quite fatty, right? But yeah, I think it's a good place to start and that's basically how I do it and that's what I use to make my
But the
sisig.
fats make it tasty, right? So
Yes.
everybody hates fats, but it's the one that gives taste, even in beef and all that, no?
But
So
here's the fun fact because of my cooking, wherein I roast the food for hours in the oven, it
mm,
actually renders the fat and gets rid of the fat
that's
as well.
right. That's
Kaya
true,
siya
no?
nagsishrink.
Yes, yes, and of course you have this small container where you capture all the fats that are melting down when
Yeah.
you. But doesn't
Mhm.
going back to the lechon belly, doesn't it get dry? I'm going back to the picture. How do you keep, I mean, you roasting, how do you keep inside the meat that still meaty and tender and not dry? I mean, I can see some fillings here. What fillings do you use? Sorry, I had to go back to
It's
it.
it's okay. I get, this is the thing that most people want to know. It's basically lemongrass, onion, garlic, salt, that kind of thing. And I just
Mhm,
mash it up and put it in. And also, in terms of getting it tender, that's why you have to slow roast it for hours.
mhm, mhm.
Um, on average, I roast my lechon belly for around 4 to 6 hours.
Oh, oh, that's
Yes,
really
it
long.
takes that long.
But do you do, sorry, we don't, without having to divulge the business secret, do you do some sort of something that you spread on the skin to keep it
No,
crunchy, or to keep it do you use color, or it just naturally it turns into red, to
it
reddish,
natural.
brownish?
No, I'm open about it. It's I don't do anything to the skin. It just turns red on its
Okay.
own once it's fully roasted.
Yeah. Okay,
Some
so and then how do you keep the tenderness aside from the sorry, the moisture inside, aside from, of course there's fats that keeps it moist, and the fillings, but are you always happy, or you can tell when something is overdone?
It's hard to overdo this because you need the skin crispy. And
Mm-hmm.
basically, in terms of tenderness, if you really want to shortcut your roasting, you can roast the lechon belly in maybe 2 to 3 hours if you
Mm-hmm.
want it done fast, but the meat will not be as tender. Medyo matigas
Okay.
siya.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't like to do that. So I minimum roast my lechon belly for around 4 hours. But usually umaabot siya ng 5 hours. And minsan, 'pag ayaw talagang mag-crispy ng skin, inaabot siya ng 6 hours or more. But I try to
Ah,
stop at 5.5 to 6 hours 'pag ayaw. Chop-chop na yan.
kasi
Paksiw na
otherwise it
yan.
will really get dry, no?
Oo, kasi
Pag more than
mauubos yung
that.
fat, eh. But that's the other thing. It depends on the belly din na nabili mo. 'Pag mas marami siyang fat, edi
Mm-hmm.
mas hindi siya nagda-dry.
Mm-hmm.
Gano'n siya.
Ah,
So 'pag mag less fat, mas nagda-dry siya.
well, anyway,
Kasi
I admire
tinatanggal mo
you
yung fat.
for your patience. So, but this looks really yummy. Now I'm getting hungry. Well, we've seen the dishes that you're offering. So, and I am, well, that's actually the way to go, no? That slow but sure. You started with the lechon belly, then started introducing a few more by accident, and some are really planned, like you really mastered it. I mean, that's the way to go. Yung, if I may be blunt about it, sariling gawa. I mean, you do it on your own. It's not just,
Mm.
like I know some would rather do it the easy way. They order from some other people and sell it as their own, or without even giving credit to those who actually were the ones who made them. So the best way, of course, is selling something that you created yourself, because you can tell your customers how it is. If you're not happy with it, then of course you won't sell it. But if there is something that you have to tell the customers, or that they have to be aware of, then you can really tell what's in it, how it's done, without you having to worry of saying something wrong, or not exactly an information that you do not know yourself, no?
That's
So which
true.
among your offering is your best seller?
The lechon belly for sure, because that's what I became famous for or known for here in Germany. In fact, I'm actually I cooked it for my family in the Philippines back in December,
Mm-hmm.
and I used to bring, one whole pig to Manila every time I would fly from Cebu to Manila, because my family's moved to Manila. Um,
Mm-hmm.
So when I made this for my family, my niece was like saying, You don't have to bring us lechon from Cebu anymore. You can just cook it for us." So I'm
Yeah, that's
actually mm,
true.
I'm actually flying to the Philippines on Sunday, and
Oh,
yeah, my
okay.
niece requested for this.
So you have your pasalubong now. Well, you don't have to. make pasalubong. You can just do it right in there in the kitchen when you are there.
Yes.
And it's
And I'm
really, you can serve
actually
it fresh.
exactly, and I'm actually considering opening my business, Leslie's Kitchen in Manila as well. It's not
Mhm.
gonna be solely mine. I'm just gonna be like, a minor shareholder because I won't be able to manage it. I will have partners who will do the
Mhm.
managing in the Philippines, but definitely it's gonna be my recipe.
Oh, so very good, very good. Pero, so, well, people, there's Lechon Belly. So, siguro eventually, well, I've been seeing you in some of the food festivals and joining with food trucks. So that's really the way to go. And speaking of food trucks, so going back to the time of your registration, could you share with our viewers the options in terms of type of business registration that you had to contemplate on? Example, I mean, everybody knows that putting up a restaurant is something big. It's something that you really have to plan and needs a big capital. So in terms of your business registration, what kind of registration type did you register, or what's the nature of your business? How?
Well, right now, the nature of my business is mainly online selling and
Mm-hmm.
selling in Food Fest. So
Mm-hmm.
that means, as much as possible as well, my husband wanted to keep the business small because, in terms of tax filing, it's a lot easier. It's a more
Mm-hmm.
straightforward manner. So that means
Mm-hmm.
registering as a small business.
Mm-hmm.
There is a threshold as to how much you're supposed to earn in a year in
Mm-hmm.
order for you to belong to that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be around 22,000 euros a year. And since I'm a one-woman show, there's no way I can produce
Mm-hmm.
enough lechon
Mm-hmm.
and earn that much money in a year. Especially,
Mm-hmm.
I do travel. So pag nagta-travel ako, that's for 1 month, at least twice or thrice a year. Close yung kitchen. And of course, summer months, close din siya. So, I did the math. So we did a small business registration.
Mm-hmm. Client
The other
entertainment,
thing,
yeah.
yes, and which
Mm-hmm.
is a lot easier because that would mean alam mo yung pasok ng pera mo from your sales, deduct mo lang yung expenses mo, yung end niyan, yung total niyan is gonna be your income, which is what you're going to use for your tax filing.
Very simple
So,
math.
yes, simple talaga siya na kaya mong gawin on your own. But of
Mm-hmm.
course, pag mas malaki na yung business mo, then you would want something like corporation or limited liability. But
Mm-hmm.
that would mean na when you buy items, you can get discount na wala kang binabayarang VAT or MWST.
Mm-hmm.
But when you do that, that means when you make your sales as well, you need to charge the MWST. So that makes the
Mm-hmm.
computation complicated na mas kailangan mo na talaga ng accountant. So we didn't want to go there in that direction muna, not at the very beginning.
Okay.
So,
So you're a client unternehmer, and
mhm,
do you also are you a Reisegewerbe, so to say? Can you
yes.
participate in?
Yes, I registered as a Reisegewerbe because if you want to join events, especially outside of your city, you need at least around 2 weeks before the event to register na magjo-join ka ng event sa local rat house ng city na
Every
pupuntahan mo.
time.
Every time, which
Mm-hmm.
is a lot of hassle. But if
Mm-hmm.
you pay for Reisegewerbe, you don't have to do that anymore. Yung Reisegewerbe card na lang kailangan mo. I mean, it's a little bit expensive, but it's a one-time payment of 230,
Mm-hmm.
250, something like that. So, yeah, just
Less
deal
hassle,
with it
no?
and less hassle. So, all
Mm-hmm.
you need to do is arrive to the event at least on the day itself or a day or two before and prepare and then leave. If
Yeah.
na-check ka, lalo na pag mas malaking event, edi may Rise Gewerbe karte ka.
It's way
Tapos.
comfortable than having to register in the city all the time and way ahead. That's true.
Yeah.
So
And
that's
mhm,
something probably that some people or do not do, no? So that already gives you an advantage if you're registered as a Reisegewerbe, no? Instead of just
yes.
doing a hit and miss, and I will join there, I will do that without knowing na 10 days ahead pa pala dapat ako nagpa-register, no?
Also, and every time you have to register, you have to pay.
Of
So,
course, yeah.
if you do your math, mas it's practical na mag-Rise Gewerbe karte ka lang para tapos.
Mm-hmm. It's a one-time expense, no?
Mhm.
And it saves you
Yes.
a lot of time and hassle. So, you said, Raisikebeabe, is online selling included in that? So you said online selling and joining Food Fest.
Um,
Um, Yeah,
Rice
sorry.
Gewerbe is mainly for traveling, but the client unternehmen could, or the small business registration could cover online selling.
Okay. So in that sense, you are also covered, no? So,
Yes.
and how do you, I'm sure you try to provide customers fresh products. There's only, so much goods you can produce in a week. So, how do you do this? How do you do shipment and packaging and all that?
Well, first off, I vacuum sealed my food and
Mm-hmm.
then freeze them, make sure they're fully frozen and wrap them in newspaper usually, and then pack them and ship them. I make sure to know the time ng pick up ng DHL para when I ship it, kasama siya on that day. But of course, it's not always guaranteed, right? So what I
Mm-mm.
do, the other thing that I make sure is try to take note as to when the foods are delivered.
So here
Para if lumampas siya,
I'm showing a sample of your what you sent recently by the packaging of what you sent recently, no? So you first
yes,
vacuum seal. Is it
and then
frozen?
it's frozen.
It's
Everything is
frozen,
frozen.
yeah. And then you pack with the newspaper. So
Yes,
it's
just to keep.
everything is vacuum sealed and frozen. But the frozen, is it depending on what the customers say, if they want it cooked and frozen or raw and frozen? What's the usual realistic
I u-
way to ship?
mm, Cooked and frozen is better because it lasts
Mm,
longer.
that's
But there
true,
are
yeah.
some people who wants to save money, especially for lechon belly. They want it raw. So for raw, I will only accept orders for raw pag they're willing to pay for express shipping.
Oh, because
Kasi
to make sure
highly
the meat
perishable
doesn't
eh.
get spoiled. Yes.
Yes. Mas
Yes.
highly perishable kasi siya. Like for example, etong lechon, I mean, especially with the weather here in Germany, kahit na
Mm-hmm.
2 days bago ma-deliver or 3 days, okay pa din siya. And the
Mm-hmm.
vacuum sealing it keeps it fresh longer.
And it takes normally 2 to 3 days only, right? Or
Yeah,
2 days?
actually, 80% of my delivery gets delivered in 1 to 2 days lang.
That's good.
Yes.
Regardless, wherever, whichever part of Germany.
Yes, including
Mhm.
Hamburg.
As far as Hamburg, very good.
Hamburg and Berlin, yes. Minsan umaabot siya ng 1 day, although more often than not, 2 days siya.
Uh-huh.
Um, yung pag hindi siya umabot ng 2 days, 3 days. But bihirang-bihira lang yung more than 3 days bago dumating. And that's the thing na I take note of. If it takes longer than that, I always ask my customer kung okay pa ba or not, and if they have doubts, throw it, I'll replace it.
Ah,
Plain and simple, i-replace ko yung food and pati yung shipping cost at my expense.
mm-hmm. So, well, that's really good customer service. Well, I know it's challenging and sometimes can get soul crushing to run a startup. And there are challenges, like as you said, there are some spoilage, and you also go to something like some self-doubt, managing all this complexity, feeling like you have multiple bosses through your customers, managing the cash flow, and well, I guess you have the support of your family, but what are some of the challenges that uh, some startup some people who are thinking of doing a startup business should be aware of and be prepared of, and perhaps handle or manage it.
For me, the most important thing is good customer service. Because it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter how good your product is or your food is, pag hindi happy sa'yo and how you treat your customers, yung customer mo, hindi yan babalik sa'yo. And all the more, hindi nila i-recommend yung friends nila sa'yo. In
And all
fact,
the
they would tell,
and considering ang dami na rin nag-online business, no?
oo. But
So,
here's the thing, if you have good customer service, and let's just say my customer kind of they don't like your food but they're happy with you, they're kind of friendly with you, so pag alam nilang eto yung food na binebenta mo, my friends silang naghahanap ng ganyan na food, sasabihin nila, oh, try mo si ano, ganun yung benta niya, even if they don't like your food, because they know naman na food is not, it's it's subjective eh. So
mm-hmm.
ako, galing ako from Cebu, I'm used to the tanglad, that's what Cebu lechon is
The
about,
taste,
and
yes.
I really have customers na parang sabi nila, napasobra daw sa tanglad. But they're
Mm-hmm.
from Luzon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't do anything about it because
It's
that's
also
what they,
regional, no?
Oo, and that's what Lechon Cebu is about. So, but anyway, okay pa naman kami ng customer na to and we're friends. So, alam mo yung nire-recommend pa rin niya ako to people who are looking for that kind of food. It's because happy siya sa service na binigay ko sa kanya.
Mm.
But of course, pag pangit yung service mo, talagang hindi na. Sasabihin, ako nga, minsan pag sinabi ko yung restaurant, ay, ayoko dyan, pangit ng ugali ng may-ari or yung pangit ng customer service
So it's
nila.
not just
So,
the food, but also the service and the way you
yes.
treat your customers, no?
Yes,
So, mm,
definitely. And the same thing with pricing then.
mhm.
You know, it's
Like
like
any
it's not
other,
just a
no?
oh, so parang it goes hand in hand eh. Taste ng food, customer service, and pricing. So it doesn't mean just because you're cheap, people are gonna keep going back to you. Because,
Mhm.
you know, Filipino food is known for being pricey or expensive outside of the Philippines, especially here in Germany. So pag bibili na ako, that means I'm willing to spend. Mahal din kaya magpa-ship. So I might as well get the food that really satisfy my cravings.
And make the most of your money. Bayad ka na rin lang, di
Exactly.
ba? Might as well be
Oo.
happy with it. So,
Kasi if
yun.
nagtitipid ako, hindi ako order ng Filipino food.
Bumili ka na lang sa fast food. Ano,
Ah,
dyan
'di ba?
saan.
I mean, if talagang nagtitipid ka, magluluto ka on your own because
Yes.
definitely that's a lot cheaper.
Yeah. So, Les, just we know that there are still some kababayans who are not yet registered. Would you have any tips to those who are still hesitant or have not yet properly registered their business and still doing about their normal, usual businesses?
Okay, I would say this that of course a lot of us are afraid to, you know, start our own business. But the thing is, when I went to Gewerbeamt or the business registration office, with my husband, we talked to the consultant and she said that if it's a one-time thing lang that you did or yung for a very short time to test the waters, it's not an issue now and they won't
Mhm.
make trouble for it. But if it's something na you really want to do and you will do regularly, better to just register it because then it becomes illegal to make it as a source of income for
Mhm.
you.
Mhm.
Now, the registration itself is fast and easy. There's not even appointment needed to go there.
Mhm. Mhm.
Papasok ka na lang, kausapin, or sa Stuttgart, naka-assign sa kanila yung based on your last name eh. So you look for that
Mm.
person, and then kausapin mo sila, process it, gawin nila right then and there, and then afterwards, may ibibigay na sila sa yung paper. And then you just need to make a bank transfer for that payment. Alam ko sa Stuttgart, I think it was around 59 euro that I paid for, and ibang city would be cheaper. So what's 59 euro if you're trying to make a business, right? And hindi
Mm.
naman siya issue na may registration ka na hindi mo agad-agad gagamitin. Yung
Yeah.
importante, may business registration ka para legal yung business mo.
Okay. Well, it's good that you pointed out na, hindi mo kaagad-agad gagamitin because, some people are saying na, I still haven't gotten prepared and all that, so baka matagalan pa, they might have to start paying for something where they still do not really have an income, no? So,
Oh, oh no, I mean at the end of the day, yung tax na babayaran mo is based on the actual income of you and your husband or your
mhm,
partner.
mhm,
Lalo na pag nagfa-file kayo together. And it doesn't mean naman na, in fact, there's a law in Germany that I know of na may certain amount of income na hindi mo kailangan bayaran ng tax. But of course, if your husband has a high income, he uses that up para mag-lower yung tax niya. So at
depends dun
the
sa,
end,
sa, sa,
oo,
sa type of
oo, so
category ng tax na that you are in.
exactly. Tapos yung tax classification din, to be
Yes.
honest, maraming nag-uusap about that na medyo magulo. But
Mm,
in reality, it doesn't matter pag hindi kayo nagbibilangan ng pera ng asawa mo. Kasi at the end
mhm.
of the day, at the end of the tax year, yung tax na babayaran mo is exactly kung magkano yung income ng asawa mo at magkano yung income mo.
Income mo. Yes, that's right.
Yeah, that's the total amount. So hindi
Mhm.
siya based kung which classification.
Mhm.
Withholding tax lang yun. Yun lang
Yes,
yun.
yes, yes. But the tax thing is really for most complicated. So yeah. So and it's true that it's good that you made a business concept that is simpler in terms of calculation. Well, let's sum it up. Someone said that a business is like a pet when you start. Then it becomes like a demanding kid. Left unchecked, it can grow into a monster that is difficult to tame. Monster in the form of difficulty in managing cash flow, difficulty in managing time, payments, debts, and maybe even conflicts with some customers. And yes, even perhaps members of your family if they do not support your business ideas. But there are also some who try to go too fast. They feed up too much at the business at a very early stage, and then the business gets sick. It takes a lot of good decisions and gut decisions and instincts to manage capital, cash flow, and well, of course, manpower at an early stage of business, especially if you join food festivals. Hindi mo kakayanin on your own, no? You need to have some support and assistance. This, however, is a skill that cannot be taught but can only be learned through experience. Do you agree?
I would think so. And yeah, I guess so. And growing up, medyo business-oriented and business-minded talaga yung family ko. And being Chinese, it comes kind of second nature to us. But I made things simpler when I started. I made sure, yung pinaka-concept ko is that when I started cooking talaga, it was a way to recoup whatever cost I had in cooking the lechon belly because I cooked it for myself. And diba, 4 to 6 hours is a long time to just cooking for myself. So I started
And you
cooking
can still do
extra
something
instead of
else
that.
while you're doing that.
Yes. So, and that's actually how you started seeing me buy those Filipino food. Because I remember before I started selling my bellies, like, ang mahal. Nahihiya ako sa asawa ko na bumibili ng Filipino food. And sometimes they end up not tasting good. So parang nasasayang yung pera ko. So parang sabi ko, okay, there must be people interested to know which food are okay and not. So that's how I started just describing food. And I'm not there to, hurt people. So I made sure naman, pag sobrang ayaw ko yung food, I'd rather not post it na lang kasi ayokong manira ng tao. I'd pretend I didn't buy from them or something like that. But if it's like good and bad, then it's okay. Kasi subjective naman talaga yung panlasa natin eh. So, yeah, and some people liked it but ang hirap mag-edit ng video. So, kind of stop and go ako dyan.
Well,
And
yeah, sorry.
yes, but at the end of the day, yung pinaka-concept talaga ng business ko, when I started making more and more, yung goal ko is kung ano yung production ko ngayon, I make sure I don't lose money. Yun lang yung pinaka-goal ko. Yung minsan alam kong may ibang customer na hindi nagbayad, ayoko nang makipag-away.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. Lalo
Well,
na at the start
business
na
is to
hindi pa
make money, not to lose money in the first place.
Yes, exactly.
Well,
And so,
yeah.
And yes, and the easiest way to manage is yung per batch mo. Hindi ka mag-lose money, okay na yan. Make sure lang minimum na naka-break even ka. And that's what happened when I did the lechon paksiw. I started giving it away, but during that time, yung batch ko paid for na eh. So
Well, the
hindi
giving
ako
away
completely lost.
let's call it investment. It's
It is.
yes, it's an investment because how would people order if they haven't even tried it? So you have to
Exactly.
add that
And
in
that's,
as a computed cost, computed risks, and yeah.
yes. And parang part siya ng marketing, diba? It's like in any
Yes,
business, the biggest expense is really the
sampling is
marketing.
important.
Yes, and it actually costs so much more to gain new customers than to retain customers.
True.
And very
Yes.
good yung sampling that you said that. So for example, in one event that I had sa anyways, like hindi naubos yung benta ko and at the same time may time na walang masyadong customers. So ginawa ko, it's like nagsigawan ako, free sample, free taste. So, it's like it got people to come
The
and taste
magic
the
word,
food.
free.
Yes. So they tried it and once they try it, pag nagustuhan nila, o-order sila and babalik sila.
Yes.
If not, okay lang, na-try nila. No harm done. Kasi at the end of the day, pag hindi ubos yung benta mo, that's loss na eh. Anong gagawin mo dyan? So, for me, yung
And the
extra ko,
quality is not gonna would not even be better if you keep it long. You might as
yeah,
well give it
exactly.
away
So,
or do something that would benefit you and your customers.
exactly. And the other thing that I did is like yung ibang mga sellers, pinagbibigayan ko sila ng food. In fact, may ibang sellers na pumunta sa booth ko just to buy some more. And the other thing is I would lower my price to cover the cost and worst case scenario kung wala talaga, even at a loss, para at least, diba, instead na 50 euro yung loss mo, kung pwede mong babaan to 20 euro, why not?
Yeah, why not?
Better
No?
than losing 50,
Right,
20 na lang.
right.
Yeah.
And you made some people happy.
Exactly.
Well, it takes a lot of courage to start a business, and even more courage and sensibility to slow down and really do it slow but sure for something that is so itching to grow. But investing is and capital is a double-edged sword. You want a fit business, not an obese business. You know, it's not fasting it, but fasting the input and letting things stabilize is the hardest thing to do in a business, but it's the most important thing to do. There is no straightforward solution to managing cash flow, managing your business apart from patience and experience. And with that, we would like to thank you, Miss Leslie, for joining us this morning. Maraming
Thank you
salamat.
as well. It's
And
my pleasure. Maraming salamat.
yeah, and then I will see you soon, and we'll talk
Yes.
some more later for some orders
Yeah.
at yung mga viewers natin dyan. Yan po, Leslie's Kitchen. I will post the logo some more for people to
As
see.
Bisaya would say it, salamat
Yes.
kaayo.
Yeah, salamat kaayo, daghang salamat. And Shulis Ende. Have a nice Saturday and a nice weekend. Thank
You
you.
too. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Tuloy mo, galing ng Pilipino, galing ng ating lahi na sa palad mo. Ipagpatuloy mo, galing ng Pilipino, galing mong natatag, ipagyamanin mo. Oh, 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 oh. Galing ipagpatuloy mo. Kaya hanggang ngayon, anumang larangan, lagi mong pinagtatagumpayan. Galing na yung taglay, sipag at karunungan, ating taas noong pag-iingatan. Ano man ang pagdaanan, kahit na anong hidwaan, tatapusin ng panalo ang lahat ng laban niya ng Pilipino. Sa dugo ko ang gamit kong talento, hindi ko sasayangin sa kung